And, I'm used to working corporate. So I gave them my 2-week notice when I had the opportunity to move on. And I came back to the salon the next day and they had changed the locks on me.
They were like, you can go now. Like, you don't
like,
have
for
to
real, don't wait. Don't wait. Let me help you with that, and like packed up my stuff and hid it in the back office. It was a tragedy, but I ended up going to the next salon. By this point, I was pregnant with my now 13-year-old baby. And whenever I went on maternity leave, things went kind of left there. And I ended up getting locked out of there too. So it's a theme. It is a theme, but it's okay because by the end of that day, I had the keys to my first salon. And that was actually how Shadowbox Salon started.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, give real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives just like you on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome Charlisa Harris, hairstylist and CEO of Mylani Beauty and Vegan Haircare, to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. Mylani Beauty was founded out of care and necessity. As a mother of 3, Charlisa struggled to find products that were suitable for their various hair and skincare needs. Most importantly, it was hard to find products that didn't contain known toxins and ingredients linked to hormonal imbalances and carcinogens. As a stylist, she also found difficulty when recommending products to her clients to sustain their needs. None of the suggestions seemed right, and most were filled with harmful ingredients. Unfortunately, that was all that was on the market at the time. With that void in mind, she thought it was best to use her expertise to create a product that not only she would feel comfortable in recommending, but one that she could use to care for her clients in her salon. This is what gave birth to the Mylani suite of products. I had such a great time chatting with Charlisa. In this interview, she shares how being fired from multiple jobs ultimately led to her opening her own salon, how her whole product line was stolen from her and she had to start over from scratch, the inspiration behind creating Mylani Beauty, if all stylists should diversify their income with products, how it's been growing a salon and beauty brand simultaneously, the conspiracy behind the beauty supply stores placed in Black communities strategically, the importance of investing in yourself, and so much more. This was such a fun conversation that I know a lot of you will relate to. Let's go ahead and jump into this chat with Charlisa, and if you prefer to watch our beautiful faces, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends of Beauty podcast, Charlisa.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you too. I was just telling somebody, like, I'm trying to get back to with the podcast interviewing more like service providers and stuff. So I'm so excited that you're a hairstylist, but you also have a brand as well. Because I feel like I've been interviewing a lot of people that just have like brands. But I'm like, I need to talk to my, my friends in beauty that are still out here working and doing the thing too. So
still
I'm excited
peopling.
Still peopling. So I'm excited to talk to you about both things today.
That makes me happy. Thank you. I'm excited.
You're welcome. So before we get started, we're going to start off with some icebreakers just to get us warmed up. And so the Friends of Beauty audience can get to know you outside of what you do professionally for your brand and everything. So the first one, just give us 3 random facts about you.
Okay. I celebrate my birthday twice a year. As a matter of fact, today is my half birthday. Ooh. I'm a mother of 3, a grandmother of 1, and I've never had cooked fruit. So I've never had an apple pie or a peach cobbler.
Right.
Yeah.
I love these. Okay. First of all, you celebrate your birthday twice a year. So your regular birthday and your half birthday.
Yes.
So you're doing something today to celebrate.
Well, first of all, I'm celebrating with you. So I deliberately scheduled it for today because of that. I ordered me some cupcakes. we gonna work those off later. and
Mm.
just really, pretty much a self-care day. I think any reason to celebrate yourself and any reason just to invest a little bit of extra time in, yourself personally, especially when me being a service provider, being a mom, I think we're so busy wearing all the hats, we forget to invest just in ourselves. So
Mhm.
today is a day for me to kind of selfishly be about me. So,
This must be a sign because I always tell people that I wanted to do like a half birthday before because my birthday's in the winter. So
me too.
I never really get to do any, I like warm weather stuff. So I'm like, I never get to do any warm weather activities for my birthday. So I might have to do that
Do
this year.
it. I've been doing it since I was like 9 or 10 years old, legitimately. Yes, because my birthday, I was born the day after Thanksgiving. So, I never really had a birthday party. It was always kind of like bundled into like family celebrations and things like that. So I learned really early, like, figure out ways to celebrate yourself, like carve out some time just for yourself. So, and it's so funny because my childhood best friend today is her actual birthday. So I
Mhm.
know she probably has side-eyed me for the past like 30 years, like, girl, like this is not your day, but it's very much my day.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
So
when is
if
your
you
birthday, by the
my
way?
birthday is February 4th.
Okay.
So
Okay.
dead in the winter,
So
like it
so
always
August.
snows. Yep.
Yes. I'm do it. Do
I'm doing
it.
it. I'm doing it. Yeah. And it always snows, or it used to always snow around my birthday growing up and everything. This year just be like this year was like the coldest. Like we had all this good weather before that. And then like on my birthday was like the coldest weekend in February. I was like, y'all tripping.
Like that's really how it goes for me too. It's like really been the longest and the coldest winter. Like I said, dealing with the house flood and the winter storm and stuff like that. So I was ready for today. I was like, it's nice outside, it's beautiful. So I'm gonna throw my little shorts on after this, and we gonna be outside for about
I,
5 minutes.
I love it. Take some good pictures too. I love it.
Exactly.
What does
Yes.
your grandbaby call you?
He calls me Gigi.
Gigi. Okay.
Yes, my mom is Granny. She's always been Granny. So, I had to figure out a way to like, differentiate myself. And it's so funny because I always see the memes. It's like grandmas nowadays always want to be everything except for grandma. And I'm like, okay, I own. I'm a Gigi.
Mhm. Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So if you were to go to karaoke, what would be like your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh. Probably Sweet Thing.
Mm,
Probably Sweet Thing.
okay.
Yes. Because I
Okay.
feel like, I there's not too many high notes. I made the mistake one time of trying to sing Got to Be Real by what was it, The Emotions, and this it's way outside of my range. And I
I
just
know
can
exactly what
remember
you're talking
the face, you know what I mean? Like she's like, listen, I in my mind, I've killed that song so many times. It's a little different when you're in front of actual people who can witness it.
about.
So I feel like Sweet Thing is safe.
Yep. Okay. I like that. I like that. I have these pod decks that have these random questions in there. This is a what the heck
Ooh,
and a would you rather. Which one would you like?
let's do a Would You Rather.
Would you rather? Yes. I love it.
Okay.
Let's give Charlisa a random card. Let's see. This is okay. This is not that exciting,
Is it
but
safe?
would
Okay.
you rather have deep dish or thin crust pizza?
Definitely deep dish.
Deep dish.
Yeah, like I mean, because I figure, I mean, more power to the people who are all about thin crust, and I know that they're trying to be healthy and things like that. But in my personal opinion, like if you're eating pizza,
Go for it.
go for it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Go
True.
for it.
True.
Yeah.
What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do professionally?
Probably encouraging people and making people laugh.
Mhm.
I admit, and I'm realizing this about myself in my big old age, that I probably do play a little bit too much, you know, and I feel like that has been, as a result of, life is going to always be lifing. So I've just really mastered the art of like finding the bright side of things. And I just feel like I'm a natural helper. So I'm always trying to get people to see like the beauty in themselves, both physically and just also just internally. We all have something positive that we can find in ourselves and every outcome or whatever. So I just feel like I really have honed that ability to, that's immediately where I go. I'm like, well, it is what it is, you know. What we gonna do about it? Let's find the bright side. You know, life is gonna go on. So.
Yeah, you might as well, because like you said, life is gonna keep life, and so you might as well try to find the good in situations.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. When is the last time that you did something for the first time?
Oh, just a couple weekends ago, I traveled to Bend, Oregon. So I have to admit that even though like I'm in the Pacific Northwest, there's still a lot of places because I'm not that adventurous. I'm kind of like a creature of habit. And even though I try to challenge myself to explore the unknown, there are just a lot of times that I will kind of put it off and just stay in my little bubble, you know. So I got the opportunity to travel. It's like 3 hours heading like to Central Oregon, and it's like through the mountains. You go like through Mount Hood and through, just so much different areas. And so it was beautiful. It was my first time, going out there. I still haven't hiked. So we gonna get there. But at least, I challenged myself, and it was beautiful. I actually was hired to go out there for wedding styling. So it was a wonderful excuse to take me and my baby boy out there, and we just traveled and explored and acted like tourists, stopped on the road, took some pictures. So it was fun.
That's cool. Okay. Oregon. That's like a place I have never even thought about in my life to go.
No one ever does. And especially because, like, to keep it all the way real, then they look at me and they're like, y'all out there? And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah.
How many did you see?
Like, you're letting people really think that it is that little. Now, definitely it's not Chocolate City. But I mean, we out here, most of us are, we have migrated out this way. You know what I mean? Either like, just like my family, they're originally from Mississippi and from East St. Louis, Illinois. So we, because of like either the military or just, job opportunities, we've like ventured out this way. So yeah, most of our roots when it comes to us, like we all originated from out where y'all are.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, last one. If you weren't a hairstylist and the CEO of Mylani Beauty, what else could you see yourself doing?
I would be a nurse.
Ooh, okay.
I thought for a long time, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I actually worked at a hospital right as soon as I graduated from high school for a long time. And I had convinced myself, like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that wasn't my ministry.
Yeah. Okay. How'd you get into doing hair then, from having an interest in nursing?
So it actually was the other way around. Like, I've always known that I wanted to be a hairstylist.
Okay.
Like, since I was like 6 or 7 years old, my dad actually had remodeled our bathroom at home because there's 3 girls and 1 boy, so he primarily had created like a beauty space for us to, to doll ourselves up. And it also doubled as my mom's like makeshift hair salon. So that was her side hustle. She used to have like, people from our church and, my sister's French teacher. I'll never forget, because my sister used to be furious on the days that this person was scheduled because it wasn't necessarily her favorite teacher.
Yeah.
And now you got to deal with this woman in her house, So I always would watch my mom. Like, I just vividly remember all of my siblings would be nowhere to be found when my mom had clients, but I would always be like right up under her heels. And I always knew that, like, wow, I love the transition. I love the bond that happens. I love just the moments, especially whenever they turn and look at themselves in the mirror and they're just like, wow, because like my mom, she was doing some magic. Like, she really was. This was like the early days whenever weave glue used to be, it looked like a nail polish bottle. And it smelled like fish eggs. Like, it was gross, but that was like the original weave glue. And my mom, was doing like weaves and things like that. So she was really creating like some full transformations at home. And I just always knew, like, I want to have that impact on people. I feel like I can do that. I could do that, And then, I had my daughter at 17. So I was a teen mom. And my family was like, that's really cute that you like to do hair, but you need a real job. You need to go to get a job. I come from a worker bee family. So you work, you invest in your 401k, you get benefits, you know, you have a routine and you retire. So they didn't quite understand me being a hairstylist. And I mean, in retrospect, I was a flaky kid. I was all over the place. So they probably saw like she needed a little discipline. You know what I mean? She might like doing hair, but she might need to go get her a job, you know.
Right.
So you know, I don't like fault them for like not necessarily like they weren't discouraging me. They were just kind of, I think, nudging me to maybe, you know,
Yeah.
grow up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So I went and got a real job at a major hospital, you know, fresh out of high school. And that was like for me, as you know, you're finding yourself, you know, I'm also, it's the stability because I'm, you know, now at this point, a single mother of a, you know, a young child. And so I thought that maybe my calling is to be a nurse. Maybe I might want to study to do that because I just always had a desire to help people
Mm-hmm.
and like nurture people to a certain degree. And
Yeah.
I would always do hair on the side at home. So that was like my like stable income that I had on the side, but I had the 9 to 5 as well. And then
Gotcha.
they fired me. So
So
okay,
let's
so you're gonna see a theme here. Like almost all of my major moves that I've ever made have been due to either like being fired, locked out, like something happened, you know,
Mhm.
even like with my house being completely remodeled and I finally get the picture that I want, you know, it happened after a flood. Like it takes drastic
Yeah.
situations to happen for me in order for me to like kind of say, okay, well, now what we about to do, you know?
Right.
So they fired me and I was so thankful. I mean, they were like, we're calling security on her because no one is normally happy to get fired. So so yeah, they escorted me out of there because it was like, we don't, you know,
She
because I
about to do,
said,
she about to pop off any second. Like,
yeah, she's a little too calm. Like, we don't trust it. So, but I was so grateful because I always felt conflicted. Like every morning I woke up, I would like touch the air. I was like, oh, I can't, like, I don't want to do this, but this is the responsible thing to do. I've got, at this point, I had 2 children. Like, you don't quit a job whenever you have people depending on you. You know what
right.
I'm saying? You got real bills, real responsibilities. So you have to work a real job.
Mm-hmm.
So when they let me go, like I say, I've always been that type of like, so what we gonna do about it? You know what I mean? So like I took that as this has to be my sign that this isn't where I'm supposed to be. That's why I'm so conflicted,
Yeah.
you know. So I went and I enrolled back in beauty school. I had went to beauty school the first time um as part of like the middle college program. I don't know if you guys have that out there to where it's like it's a program that is partnered with like the one of the local community colleges. So
Mm-hmm.
you're in high school for half the day, and then you go to the community college for the rest of your day to, you know, basically get your, you know, your certifications or
Yeah.
whatnot. So I
Yeah.
had done that when I was 16, but like I say, my family was like, okay, that's cute. Now go get you a job. So
Right.
I
Right.
enrolled back in beauty school. At this point, it had been 10 years later. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 26 years old now. I relocated to another state because it just was like, okay, this is my time for me to get out of my comfort zone. This is
Yeah.
my time to like actually do what I want to do instead of like having people in my ear telling me what I should do, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I always been kind of hard headed, so you know.
So where did you relocate from and to?
So I relocated from Seattle, Washington to Portland, Oregon. So it was like 2.5 hours away. I
Mm-hmm.
always say that it was far away enough that, you know, people don't just pop up for dinner, but close enough that if I want to go home and if, you know, there's anything that happens, I can go back home,
Yeah.
you
Okay. So
know?
you enrolled in the
Yeah.
cosmetology program, and then what happened?
Mhm. And then I just hit the ground running. Like once I finished, I went and worked at, you know, as a booth renter in a salon out here. And I also worked at Supercuts. So that was like my stability. That was my steady paycheck. You know, that was also the continued education. I've always been really big on like education. You know, I never wanted to be the person who felt like I knew everything.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something more that you can learn. And unfortunately, especially out here in the beauty schools, they're kind of segregated, to be honest. You go to beauty school, and as far as when it comes to the practical aspects, you're doing kind of what you've always been doing in your kitchen. You know what I mean? So like if you're an African American student, they're assigning you the practicals of doing the flat irons, and you're doing the jerry curls, and you're doing relaxers. And I would literally stalk the front desk in order to be able to get assigned to do those color services or to
Yeah.
do the services on people who didn't look like me. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I finished school, I knew that I just always wanted to, I prided myself on like, I know I want to be a salon owner, and I want to be able to service whoever comes through my door. Now, I'll tell you the mistake in that later on, because we can't be for everybody. We ain't for the
That's
streets.
so true.
You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I wanted to get as much information and as much like education under my belt, so that like I would even say, I don't care even if you bring a poodle to me, I'm a rock that poodle. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to just know as much as I could. So that was what I did fresh out of beauty school. And then I left there to manage another salon when I gave them my notice at the salon that I was working at, because by this point I had quit Supercuts and I was working full time at the salon, as a booth renter. And I'm used to working corporate, so I gave them my 2-week notice when I had the opportunity to move on, and I came back to the salon the next day, and they had changed the locks on me.
They were like, you can go now. Like you
You
don't
like,
have to
for
wait
real,
till
don't wait. Yeah, don't wait. Let me help you with that, and like packed up my stuff and hid it in the back office. It was a tragedy, but I ended up going to the next salon. By this point, I was pregnant with my now 13-year-old baby. And whenever I went on maternity leave, things went kind of left there. And I ended up getting locked out of there too. So it's a theme. It is a theme, but it's okay, because by the end of that day, I had the keys to my first salon. And that was actually how Shadowbox Salon started.
That is amazing. I could definitely relate to the job thing of like getting hired and then fired, walked out by security. I could definitely relate to those things. And like you said, it's always those moments where, okay, like you definitely served your time there, I'm sure there's some skills and stuff that can translate over from what you learned, but it's always something that is waiting for you on the other side. And the fact that you said earlier that you're kind of like a creature of habit, like you might have stayed there forever and not have pursued what you're ultimately doing now if you hadn't been let go from them jobs. So it's always something like that happens, where sometimes in the moment when people are going through it, it's like the worst thing ever, because anytime that, like the first time I got fired from a job, it was literally a week before Christmas. It's stuff like that. I'm like, dang, I was like, dang, they real dirty to let me go a week before Christmas.
Girl, they let me go in the middle of a pay period. Like, wait, I'm not even gonna get a full check, like my last check.
They do not care. And in the moment, you're like, what is happening? But when you look back at it now, you're like, thank you. Like, thank you so much.
Right. I mean, especially once you get your ego and your pride out of the way, because it's embarrassing, right? To be fired. You know what I mean? You just feel like exposed and rejected to a certain degree. You go through all the series of like, emotions at that time, so it wasn't like immediately that I was like, great, wonderful. I sat at home and, was like binge eating and stressed out for a little bit whenever I first, got fired, because I was like, when your security blanket is pulled from up under you and you get a little bit too comfortable, you don't necessarily have a backup plan. So that's the thing about it. Like you kind of have to sit and strategize, and but it can get a little sticky at first,
So would you say that, because I always tell people the reason I became a makeup artist at the end of the day, I mean, I work jobs every now and then. It's just because I don't like having my livelihood in somebody else's hands. Would you say that is like the driving force behind you wanting to have your own salon?
Literally. My thing was, this happened in 2004, and that has been the last time I've worked for someone else. I always let it be known that I will never give, especially a corporation, the ability to determine whether or not I'm able to feed myself or to feed my family. So that has always been that. And not only that, but whenever I think about it, sometimes I'm like, the same passion that we put into fulfilling the duties of our job description or whatnot just imagine if we took those same skills and put that into ourselves. Not
Yeah.
only that, but then the sky is the limit, because you get to determine, how you elevate. You get to determine, especially if you're not in your own way, like you get to determine how well you do, really.
Mhm.
There's no conspiracy to success. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And my mom has always told me, she's like, the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put in the work, but you get to determine, that she got some good jewels now,
Yeah.
and so I think that's been the thing. The universe has definitely done me a favor by cutting the cord on the things that were not, no longer serving me.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
where does someone have to be like mentally to transition from being like working in a salon and then being a salon owner? Because I see that I feel like there's not like a lot of people who aspire to be like salon owners. They're like just perfectly okay to just, work for somebody else. But if you do want to transition to being a salon owner, what is that switch that has to happen for you to like do that?
I think that you have to be the person that you're able to see the unknown. You're able to, like, whenever you're an employee or whenever you're working for somebody else, basically the end result is created for you. So
Mhm.
as an owner, or just as any type of like independent entrepreneur, you have to have the ability to see outside of what has been prepared for you. You have to, just like with your own dreams, right? Like when you're sleeping, only you can see that dream.
Yeah.
Only you can be able to, like, bring it to fruition or be able to manifest it. I think that's the same thing with being, an owner of something. You have to be able to, like, keep your feet moving even when you hit the roadblocks, because there's and you can't be that type that you're only motivated when people are supporting you,
Mhm.
because most people are not going to see it for you. Most people are going to be, especially like I say, like, with my family, they didn't mean to discourage me, but they did, because they were thinking practically, because they were thinking as employees do, where you have opportunities created for you and you live within that reality.
Yeah.
So, and I think on the flip side, there's also another part to that, you say that a lot of people are comfortable just working like in someone's salon and not necessarily being owners. What I also see, especially after the pandemic, is that there's a lot of people that do want to be owners, but they still have an employee mindset.
Mhm.
So not understanding the dedication and the commitment that comes to that, and the discipline. You
Yeah.
have to have a certain level of discipline, you know what I mean? That, like, you have to do what needs to be done, even when it's not fun.
Yeah.
I think social media and just like this whole like hustle culture right now has really fooled people into thinking that entrepreneurship is fun.
It's
And
not.
it's not. Like, I mean, the part that we show up online and we add the filters to, and that we, put into a 15, 30, or 60-second snippet, that's cute. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But that's not even a fraction of what we do, the times that, like, I put a way more hours into my own business than that hospital would have ever got out of me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's a lot of times, especially in the early days, that there's going to be too much month at the end of the money. You got to figure out, like, how are you going to, you know what I mean, literally make things happen. Limiting yourself on, like, knowing how to properly budget, so that way you're covering all of the expenses, because a lot of people don't understand how expensive it is
Yeah.
to not only run a business but to grow a business, because it really does take money to make money, you
Absolutely.
know. So yeah.
Yes. Would you say, this is like a random question, would you say, because earlier you mentioned just having that gratification of like transforming somebody, making them feel confident and everything like that. Do you still feel that way after all these years in business? 'Cause I'll say, as a makeup artist, I've had this conversation with another makeup artist where, I mean, I don't know if hair is different from makeup in this sense, but I'm kind of getting exhausted with certain people with like trying to stroke their egos to make them feel better, especially as a stranger, because sometimes with makeup, especially if somebody's never seen themselves look a certain way, like it could be like a shock sometimes, or if they don't
Or
like it,
unrealistic expectations. Let's just be
yeah,
real. Like,
they might have
I've
certain
done a million
flaws.
pixies and
Yeah,
have never, they don't look like Halle Berry. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
um, burnout is real. I think in any industry, burnout's real. And I always joke, I'd be kind of low key serious, but I say that I would love what I do if I didn't have to deal with people,
Mm-hmm.
because peopling is exhausting. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're having to be constantly on, and then especially whenever you service multiple people in a day, you literally have to have like multiple personalities to a certain degree, because you have to cater to like their comfort zone. You know what I mean? So I still love what I do, but I definitely I also enjoy my days off
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah,
whole lot. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, I think that's been even more important for me to invest that time in myself, because it's exhausting.
yeah.
It is. It's, I still love, I most importantly, and that's why there's so much emphasis on the products, because I love making people fall in love with what they probably didn't even know that their hair could do.
Mm-hmm.
I love, you having these challenges, and most times, especially us as women of color, we don't have enough people telling us how beautiful we are. We don't have enough people telling us what's possible. There's so many images of fakeness and things that, like, you don't get to see yourself represented in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So whenever you're in my chair, my responsibility is that you leave better than you came.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never get tired of that. I love that. It's just the new the it's the new culture of people, I think. Sometimes there's a different level of entitlement. There's like, especially as service providers, there's this new wave of like, and I'm not paying you to deposit. Y'all stylists ask for too much. You guys, there's just so much, like, I feel like a wave of lack of respect
Uh-huh.
of the real professionals, because we're put up against the hustlers. We're put up against the people who see that service providers make D-boy money. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it looks fabulous, and you're dealing with people. We're put in that same box with all of them. And so it's hard for us to decipher who's real, you know what I'm saying, and who's here for the long run, and
Yeah.
who's been at this, you know what I mean? So that can get a little tiring sometimes, of
Mm-hmm.
just trying to get people to respect you, having to have healthy boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
both remembering how to like make your own personal time, people knowing that they can't contact you after hours or through
That'd be work.
Facebook Messenger. Like, I just had to tell someone yesterday, if you call me via Messenger one more time, you
And
know,
they expecting you to answer. It's 10 o'clock. Well, like, what are you doing?
Sunday. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. And first of all, let me just say, my website is off the hook. Like, I know, because I spent a lot of money on that website. So it is very informative. It has all the things that
Mm-hmm.
you need. It is super easy to book your appointment. You're looking at the same schedule that I'm looking at. So, baby, if it tells you that I'm booked until July, I'm booked until July. And I'm going to tell you the same thing. So, it's that aspect that I could sometimes do without. I ain't gonna lie.
That is crazy. Oh my God, the boundaries are real. So tell us about
Mhm.
your brand, Mylani Beauty, the inspiration behind that.
So it originally was Shadowbox Luxury, and it started off with like my extensions, because I'm also a hair replacement specialist. So I wanted to curate what I provided to people. So it started off with the extensions, and then it started with actually my very first product, which was the bow down, which is the hair and body butter. And I actually created it for my son's skin.
Okay.
My baby, he's on the autism spectrum. He has hypersensitivities, and he also, I know that there are certain like preservatives and chemicals and toxins that are in a lot of products that have the ability to like set off their you know, their hyperactivity and their sleep patterns and, you know, just their regulations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they're hormone disruptors. A lot of the preservatives in known products are hormone disruptors. So I had originally created that. And then I realized, wait, I could use this on my clients' hair. This is kind of dope. So, like from there, a lot of my clients will say, "Ooh, you should get a shampoo. If you had a shampoo, I would totally buy that and totally use it."
Yeah.
And then it also was, I've always been like, my mom called me nosy Rosie. I was always like curious about things like as a child. So I like when I look at a bottle of something, I would always go beyond the pretty colors, the name of it. I wanted to look at the back of it and see like how we read food labels. I read product labels and I
Mm-hmm.
want to know, what does that stuff mean? So learning more, I frankly was just like, the brand was created out of frustration. It was created out of, I don't feel good about using this on you. I don't feel good about recommending this to you. I
Wow.
also have a lot of issues whenever it comes to like our popular beauty supply stores that are in most cities that are ran by other cultures that typically target the Black community, but
Mm.
do not provide products for anyone other than our community, because they know that we lack the support of each other. So they've studied us and know that they can make themselves quite rich off of selling products that are not good for us, but that we use because we you know, don't know any better. So I wanted to combat all of that.
My mouth is wide open because I never even really realized that until you just said that. Like, I'm looking specifically at this beauty supply store that I go to all the time to get my lashes, but you do not see the products that other cultures use in
Mhm.
those stores.
Yes, I will. I'll actually send you a link to a video that I watched about maybe 15 years or so ago, and it was called the. I don't want to be, you know, controversial. So it was basically about the black hair takeover by a
Mm-hmm.
certain culture, and
Mm-hmm.
how there literally is like a dynamic of studying our culture so closely and knowing the lack of support that we have for one another, that you can literally plant yourself inside of our communities and we will support you because of of that. So for me, I had a lot. I felt a mission. I was like, I want to insulate our dollars, you know what I mean, in within our community. I want to provide legacy, which is why I changed it from Shadowbox Luxury to Mylani. That's actually the my three children's names is combined. So it's
Oh, my.
Mikey, Dalen, and Deani.
I was going to ask you that too, where the name came from. Okay.
Yes, so that was that, because my thing is, you know, my children are incredibly talented, especially my older two. They're adults now. Like my son is actually right now taking cosmetology courses, which I'm so excited about. But you know, my thing was, I at that time I was like, even if my children never decide to touch a person's hair, they still can be a part of, because we all need hair products. We all
Mm-hmm.
use hair products. So that this is something that they know is for them,
Yeah.
and something that they can feel responsible about, you know, keeping the legacy going even after I'm gone. Hopefully this is something that they take a part of, and that they continue. I want my name to still be ringing long after me, you know?
Absolutely. I love it. So when you
Yes.
decided to do the products and expand with like the notes from your customers and everything, did you
Mm-hmm.
do like private label, or were you like formulating your own products with a
Ooh,
chemist, or
child.
your own knowledge, education?
So I first, it was just from pretty much like my kind of like surface knowledge that I had, that I would start kind of like, you know, mixing products. Like I say, I started off with the butter. And then from that point, I went to a major trade show in Georgia that they have every year. I'm sure you're familiar.
The
And
Bonner Brothers look.
yes, I'm so excited about them being back in Georgia this February. So
Yeah.
yes, but I went there and I actually met a black owned uh, product line, or a black owned like manufacturer, and they did white labeling. And
Okay.
so for me, I was like, this is the answer to my problems, because that way I can have a product line and I don't have to be like responsible for like creating everything. That was still, while I think I was more so focused on having a product line than understanding what I didn't want to create, if that makes sense. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I just wanted a product line. I wanted something that I could retail to people and that would respond to like their needs that they had.
Mhm.
And then so I worked with them for probably about a year and a half, and or so I thought. Let me be very clear, because it ended up not being that company that I ended up working with. It's a crazy story. I started, my account with them. I thought they were the ones that were fulfilling all of my orders for my product.
Yeah.
And then my contact person started becoming like very non-responsive, and then very extremely abrasive. Like I sent a message one time to, place an order, and she's like, "Don't ever contact me this way again. This isn't the way to contact me." And I'm like, for the last year and a half, okay, like, all right, like, different. So after she became completely non-responsive, and now at this point, like, I have a product line with no products. I haven't been able to like have any of my orders fulfilled. And so I'm thinking that I'm going over this person's head by contacting their management.
Yeah.
And that's when I contacted the company, and they said, "We've never fulfilled any orders for you. Like, we see your name, we see that you started with us,
Uh-huh.
but there was actually a staff member who left and started her own company, and she took your account with her."
How does that happen?
I mean, treachery is real. I've had, the same thing happen with stylists in my salon, that they, stole, been able to steal a couple people's phone numbers and started their own salon. So it happens. And so at that point, I was devastated, because now I am like, what am I going to do? Like, it's embarrassing. I have a product line that like has literally no products.
Yeah.
So I went through that for probably about like 6, 7 months. And then one night I was just like sitting up in bed, and I'm just like stressing. And, I just literally just heard a voice that was like, if you're going to do it yourself. Why can't you do it yourself?
Mhm.
And that was whenever I actually ended up going and getting my cosmetic formulation certification.
Oh.
And because my biggest thing is I didn't want to just bank on, the little bit of education that you have to have, because in order to become a cosmetologist, you have to study chemistry, anatomy, electricity. You have to have like that, like surface knowledge. But I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to make sure that they were, created, safely, that I was always up to code.
Mhm.
And then I also, like I say, with me knowing, like, and having that frustration of what was readily available to us and what had been targeted to us as people, especially in the Black community, I wanted to provide plant-based products. I
Okay.
knew that, I never hear anything negative about plants. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
right now you'll hear all the negative things whenever it comes to relaxers, or you'll hear about, whenever it comes to parabens and phthalates and, all of those type of like disruptors and things like that. But you never hear anything negative about plants.
Right.
And that was really, I was like, okay, now this is my opportunity to really create something that is really like a passion product, instead of it being just putting it out there. Like I say, just to be able to say that I got a product line. So it
Yes. Oh
just
my
took on
God.
a new passion. That's why I say, anytime that something's ever like supposed it's been designed to knock me down, it just ends up giving birth to something even greater.
Oh my gosh. I have so many questions. Like, so this person essentially stole your product line and made her own.
Basically. Well, she started her own company, and pretty much like stole a series of accounts, and like was manufacturing products for people. But then what
But
happened, the reason
using it
why
for herself.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So
Like,
then, and that was the other reason I had to reformulate everything, because any products that were put out there, I no longer have like ownership of, you know what I mean? Like, they're not my products. she could, you can literally white label. And that's the thing that we have to understand too. Like whenever you go into like Alibaba or you go through like these white label companies, that's not technically your product. That's not your formula.
Right.
You don't own that. You're
Dang.
leasing it.
So like
So
legally, is there anything that people can do to like avoid that happening to them?
you can contract with an actual chemist to have them like, custom formulate a line for you. And then there's certain legalities as far as like, do not disclose and, things like that that come
Mhm.
into play. And that way it's pretty much like you have to like trademark that aspect, or you have to patent that.
Right,
And, that's the only way that that can technically be yours.
right. So
But if you're having anyone outside of yourself create something, you definitely want to, and it's things that you just in our anxiousness and just in our immaturity in any industry that we don't know. You're most times you're not going to know until you sometimes bump your head. So it was a necessary lesson.
yes. So where did you get your certification from and how long did it take?
So it took me a series of 1,500 hours.
Mhm.
And I received it from this, major, like they're well known for cosmetic formulations or like certifications for people. And I pretty much, got that through, I did it virtually. You don't go like in person, and you take like these modules. You learn, ways to like how do surfactants work. You learn like all the different ways, like pretty much like it's almost like you're taking like a chemistry course where,
Okay.
and then you have like your practicals that you have to do in order to like, they're like, I want you to create a skincare product. So you have to like go in and learn how, based upon the information that you've gone over in this module, how to create like what is your finished product. So
That
it's
sounds
been
like fun.
extremely, it was really fun, and I don't think I would have even taken this course had it not been because like I say, I was relying on other people's knowledge, other people's education in
Yeah.
order to be able to do it. But my thing was, I wanted it to be outside of just making it seem like I'm whipping up stuff in my kitchen. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And I also wanted to make sure that it was like, because there's certain like safety and sanitation. And it's the same thing with me being a hairstylist, that I'm really big on not just you looking good, but like, am I performing my services safely? Am I, are things sanitized? Are you going to that person in her house that's using that same comb on everybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I felt the same way whenever it came to like creating my products. I was really big on like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything bootleg. I strongly, urge people that if it's something you're gonna do it all the way and
Yeah.
do it
Do
right.
you remember the name of the place that you took that you got the certification from?
Yes, it was Formula Botanica.
Oh yes, I'm familiar with them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they out here making superstars then.
They
I've
in
heard
these
a lot of
streets,
people.
man. Yes,
Exactly.
yes. I
That's
mean,
amazing.
the price tag at first kind of scared me a little bit because, it's like whenever you're having these like lessons and you're taking these losses, like, the money can rack up a little bit sometimes. So that was my biggest thing. That I was just like, oh, I got to spend some more money. Like, but if it's knowledge that will never leave you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you can always like grow from that. So, whenever I started looking at opportunities as investments versus me spending money, I think it made it a little easier for me to justify
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Do you think that
Yeah.
all hairstylists, especially if they have their own salon or something, should diversify their income in that way with selling products of some sort?
I strongly urge, and even in school, you should always retail products to your client. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily just about diversifying your income, but I also feel like that is what makes you, reputable as far as like you're the expert. So you should be prescribing what your clients need. And that's another reason why I'm like anti beauty supply, because you're going And so you would rather your clients trust somebody who has never touched the head before, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, or dropped out of school years ago, you know what I mean, to recommend what is right for their hair or for their skin, versus you being the person who intimately services them. You should know what their scalp maladies are. You should know, what is their texture type and things like that. And you should be able to prescribe what they need in order to continue the health and longevity of their style at home.
Right, right. What kind of,
So
well,
for multiple reasons.
what are the range of products that you have now? Because I saw your website, you got a lot of stuff. Like, so like, what are like your best sellers right now?
My best sellers are definitely my shampoos and conditioners and then the butters. So
Uh,
I have two different shampoos, and it's mainly because I feel like there are two basic needs. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, but I feel like we all have two basic needs. Do you need, nurturing and moisture, or do you have a scalp condition that you need to treat the scalp condition as well as also nurture the strands of your hair? So I have two
mm,
different shampoos based upon those needs. And then
yeah.
I have the conditioners that follow with that, because I'm a firm believer that there are multiple steps of hair care, hair care.
Mhm.
So, I can't stand 3-in-1s where like it's supposed to do everything. No, it does not. The health and integrity of your hair starts with a healthy scalp. And
Mhm.
that's why shampooing the hair, I always say shampoo is for the strands and for the scalp, and the conditioner is for the strands. It's
Gotcha.
just like when you get in the shower, you know what I mean? Especially us being melanated, you can't just I don't care how moisturizing that body wash claims to be. You better get out and put some lotion on, too. So, so it's the same thing with conditioner. And then I
Yeah.
firmly believe that, there should be two stages of conditioning: the rinse out and then the leave in. So I
Mm,
also have a leave in conditioner spray that you can use whether you're doing a silk press, which I'm the silk press queen,
uh,
or if you are wearing your hair curly, it's amazing as a curl refresher. And
yeah.
then the butter, I just feel like there's no wrong way for you to use that. You can use it, whether you're wearing your hair curly, using it, if you're doing the lock method, if you're doing a silk press, you can use a little bit less, just
Mm,
because of the fact it's a concentrated product. And I put it on every day whenever I get out of the shower. It's an amazing body butter too, you
nice.
know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So how are you handling production now? Are you doing all of this yourself?
So I do handle all production. And then we just are live on the Amazon platform. We've been live on the platform for well over a year, but we actually just elevated to being Amazon Prime, which means that they're fulfilled out of the Amazon facility, which I'm
Mhm.
super excited for, because that's been my thing. This has been the year. I think that's been the blessing that happened with my house flood, as well as like, learning what you can let go, and I also am no longer invested in me being the person that wears all the hats. So
Mhm.
I'm okay with letting other people do things.
Yeah.
So whenever you place an order via the website, it's myself or a family member that does the fulfillment and the shipping of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm asking for help this year. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm telling them we got a whole bunch of orders. I need y'all to come and help me get those out. And then otherwise, you can log right onto Amazon and they'll get it to your door within 2 days. So
Wow. So who's actually like making the products though?
I am.
So you're making the product. So, oh my gosh. So
So I have
that means
production days. Yes.
you have to have your own inventory. You have to have inventory that you send to Amazon as well for them to fulfill those orders as well.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And
Okay.
I actually just spent this weekend. I take every other Saturday off. So this past weekend was spent on, getting the inventory back up, because we're scheduled for a major uh, vending opportunity this weekend. There's a market out here called My People's Market that happens seasonally. And it's like my favorite market, because it's my chance for me to talk to people. You meet new people, you get people excited about it. And so, and then also because we outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was what I spent this past weekend. But yeah, every single bottle I create, I fill it, it's and then it's in my stock room. And whenever you place an order via there, I'm the one that prints it out and fulfills it.
Oh my God. Are you like a little bit scarred to like let somebody do that part of your business since
Yes.
what happened?
Yes. So I mean, you know, my thing is my dream, and you know, I know that it's going to happen in due time, but you know, we will have a fulfillment center, and there will be a warehouse that will be run by me. And you know, I'll be able to hire staff. My goal is to be able to give, you know, young teenage moms or single moms the opportunity for them to earn income, and also for me to invest in whatever, you know, their dreams are, but also give them the opportunity to learn as well. So, but it will be my own fulfillment
Yes, I know that's
facility.
right.
We're not bringing nobody else in anymore.
Yeah, we're not playing those games because this time somebody might get cut. So
Listen, okay, look,
you
I
have
ain't
to
been
pull up
fully
on them.
delivered. Look, I'm healing, not healed. Okay,
Yes,
don't play
true.
with it.
That is crazy. So how has it
Yeah.
been then, like having a salon and then growing your brand like simultaneously?
Um, you know, that's why you know, at one point it was chaotic. I would definitely consider that, because whenever like in my earlier salon ownership days, I used to take pride in being like overworked. I was, you know, they used to nickname my salon Club Shadowbox, because I used in my larger space, I had a bar that was directly across the parking lot from my salon. And there were many nights that I closed after the bar did. So we was closed after last call, y'all, you know, and that to me was what I considered to be successful, is, you know, being able to put everybody's needs before myself. And then I realized you know, first of all, I opened my salon 6 weeks after I had my son, after I had my youngest. So all he ever knew was staying in the salon all day,
Yeah.
you know. And then 6 months, actually 4 months before the pandemic happened, I just got to a place where I was like, I no longer want to mentor people along the lines of, ooh, I'm so sorry. I was starting to see that my mission was different, as far as like at one point I had a very large salon space because I wanted to mentor other stylists. I wanted to give them the opportunity to work under me, or not necessarily under me, but you know, to work with me. And then I just realized that's no longer my mission. I want to invest in people in other type of ways, you know. So that's whenever I started doing like my virtual business coaching. So I was like, we don't need the 1,800 square feet. And that also means that I can finally learn how to take my butt home. So right before the pandemic happened, I downsized to 100 square foot salon space. It was intimate. I loved it. I still love it, you know, but it also gave me the opportunity to cut down on my hours that I spent in the salon, to actually, for the first time in my entire career, to have real business hours, which I had never had business hours. People were like, "What are your hours?" I'm like, "Girl, we just here. Just come on," you know. So it felt good to finally have, you know, those boundaries established. And then it also, because my goal was that I wanted to create space for me to focus on my product line. Because at one point I felt like I was like, you know, like that visual whenever you're spinning the plates and, you know, the plates is dropping. I felt like either I excelled in the salon and my home life was chaotic, or I felt like I was, you know, at a deficit, because I would come home with the mom guilt, like, oh my God, I ain't barely seen y'all. How y'all doing? You know what I mean? Anything new with you guys?
Like when you start doing that?
Right, exactly. Like 6 months ago, I was like, oh dang, okay, you know. So I really had to prioritize my time and learn how to let certain things go. I'm also really minimized my service menu, as far as like, you know, I no longer wanted to be the person who I could service anybody who walked through my door. You know, I really wanted to be a lot more targeted as far as like the services that I provided. And so that helped too, because in that way I could, you know, really balance, like, these are the hours that I'm here. This is my availability. This is what I provide for you. And if you cannot fit within those parameters, probably I'm not the stylist for you. But I got these wonderful products that you can use at home. You know what I mean? And so it just took on a different meaning. And then the pandemic happened. So we were on timeout for 4 months. And that for me was like, if I was able to survive finally being home for the first time in my life for this long, there is no way in the world that I can go back in the salon working the way that I used to.
Yeah.
That was that sit down and that time out and that time to reevaluate what was I doing and how much time. Like I really, looked at my son and was like, dang, you kind of cool. Like, like, kind of nice. Oh, okay, I kind of get here. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna come home and we're gonna actually, have dinner at home for once, and we're gonna just do different things. And you can still do both. I think that's the thing that whenever, especially as Black women, I think we're such a, it has to be an either or type of situation sometimes, and you really can have it all, but I live by schedule. You know what I mean? Everything is scheduled. Everything is planned. I'm big on to-do lists, and I'm also big on scheduling time for myself the same way that I diligently schedule my appointments. If I can show up for them, I definitely can show up for my family.
So true. Yes. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. So I have a never have I ever question for you. It's nothing crazy, I promise. I had someone the other day about to have like a heart attack. Like I was going to ask her about how many bodies she had or something.
Right.
Anywho,
so I'm bored again anyway, so that wouldn't have mattered.
So if this is
over.
So if this has ever happened before, you can share the story behind it. If not, share your advice to someone to avoid this happening. So never have I ever cut some of my hair while taking out a protective style. Has that ever happened to you before?
I just did that last week. Yes. I had braids last week. I had knotless box braids. So yeah.
Did you cut some of your hair?
I cut a little bit of it. I think I was a little okay, so it was 2:00 in the morning in my defense, and it's like after a while, like you're so tedious and you're so like, you pay close attention when you're first starting. And then after a couple of Netflix episodes and, time is going by, I had just, driven back from Seattle too. So I was like already tired from taking a road trip. And I was like determined that these braids got to go today. So yeah, I did. I snipped a little something. I did.
I feel like hairstylists don't be caring though. They were like, I could fix it. Like I would throw something on my head.
Listen. Hinges on deck. It's all good.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't a lot, but it definitely, I looked and because my hair used to be blue. I used to have a blue pixie a year and a half ago. So the hair that, is at the ends now is blonde, from being lifted. So that's how I knew that I had cut my hair, because I looked at this braid and was like, oh, snap, that's me. So yeah, it wasn't a lot, but I got myself. I did.
Okay.
So my advice, am I supposed to give advice to people?
What's your advice for
my
avoiding?
My advice is don't cut your dang on hair. Like be okay with, because I know we don't like to take too much braid down, but it's okay to go a little beyond, where you really think that your hair is at in order to make sure, because we can't keep on taking too many L's, y'all.
Yeah. Mess around, be bald.
Right. On accident. Like it's okay if you bald on purpose, like you meant to do that, but let's not be bald on accident, or the salt and pepper asymmetrical, that done been went out. So we got to watch it.
Oh my gosh. So do you have any tips, Charlisa, for if somebody wants to start their own beauty brand or hair care brand, body care, what kind of advice would you give them? Maybe like your top three tips.
Know what your mission is, because you're definitely going to hit roadblocks, and life is going to be lifing in the meantime. So you definitely have to have a clear vision of what you want your end result to be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be flaky. I feel like we're right now like in this. I just went to like a networking mixer, and my only concern was that I think there's so much emphasis on people being multi-business owners
Mm-hmm.
that we will have a tendency to want to be a jack of all trades, but then we end up being a master of none. So it's okay for you to be really, really good at that one thing and for you to stick to that. You don't have to be the person that I do lashes, I do makeup, I do hair, I do life insurance, I do, you know what I'm saying? I'm an author. Like, it is okay if you find that one thing and stick with it.
Yeah.
You, regardless of what society is telling you right now, you don't have to, like, when we say diversify your income, we don't mean having a million different things. Yeah, you can be like a hairstylist, but then have different, like, you know, things that are underneath that umbrella and be totally okay with that. You know, be a person who never stops learning. Be a researcher. Be a person who is able to see beyond just what is presented in front of you. Have that curiosity to always want to learn more, because there's always something new. Always, you know, even as a hairstylist, I still go to like continuing education classes. I'll go to a relaxer class. I'll go to, you know, like something that seems basic, or, you know, a simple color theory class, because there's always something new that you can take from what you feel like you've already been over that. There's always a new angle.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sweat yourself. I think that's the other thing too. Like, it's okay. Don't be humble. Don't let people convince you to be humble. I feel like humble was a word that was created as a way to minimize us, and a way to convince you that it's okay for you to play small. And humble is, listen, I am humble along the lines of the fact that I know that there is a God above me, and I know that there is a universe that is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever it comes to what he created, he did his big one with me. You know what I mean? So it is okay for you to, you know, to not be humble along the lines of really being big on yourself. Don't let people tell you that you're too much. Don't let people tell you that you're doing the most. Be big, be loud, be proud, stand up tall, and command, you know, let the room know that you walked in, and be okay with that.
Yes, I love that. I saw a quote one time that was like, playing or being humble will have you played with and overlooked for a lot of things.
Yes. Because in the meantime, the person that told you to be humble is standing up in front of the room being big. You know, so don't let nobody convince you that you need to be humble. Like I say, I believe in humility. You know what I mean? Like, it never has to be a big me, little you type of situation. And I definitely know that there is a God. I wouldn't be anything without him, you know, and I know that the universe is bigger than me. That's as far as it goes, as far as playing it small. Other than that, I wake up every morning and affirm myself of who I am, that I'm exactly where I need to be in life, and that, you know, whenever I walk in the room, you're going to know I'm here. And that's just what it is.
Yes. So if you had to start your brand over like you did, well, you had to start it over before, but if you had to start all over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
You know what? No, I feel like every lesson that I've been through, I needed to know it. I'm so passionate about my brand now because of every lesson that I went through. Because of, and I feel like the certification was just a small part. I think just my 26 years of knowledge of being in the industry, and just seeing every single experience that people have. My customers have grown with me, so they went through the lessons and the experiences as well. So I wouldn't take anything from it. Nope, I don't think I would start over differently. You know, I think I'm exactly where I need to be now.
I like that. So at the end of the day, Charlisa, what do you want your legacy to be?
That she she touched every person who she came across, every that she was memorable. That if you met Charlisa, to meet her is to love her and to know her, and that you grew from your experience with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want. I really I idolize my grandmother. I love, love, love. She's no longer with us, but she was the other entrepreneur in the family. She was the person who, really believed in me. She was the one person that was like, "You're gonna go to beauty school and you're gonna do this, baby. I was so proud of you. You can do this. I could see this for you." And now that she's no longer here, her legacy is like no one forgets that they met her.
Mm.
She was a restaurateur, so she fed people, she nurtured people through her food. I want that I was able to nurture you either through an encouraging word, through a service that I provided for you, or that you experienced what I put, my love and my heart into through these bottles. So if you sit back and you're telling stories about who Charlisa was years later, I want you remember that she made people feel good.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Is there anything coming up next for you that you could share, or anything you're working on we should look out
Let us
for?
speak into existence. I am really, really, really focused on more distributor, opportunities. We're actually just launching actually in DC. Yes. Yes, there is I'll have to give you the specifics of it, but it's a newly opened beauty supply, Black owned beauty supply out in
Okay.
DC.
Yeah, I think Melissa told me about that.
Yes, 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 yes. So we will be launching out there, which I'm super excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And just, let us pray that, one day you're able to walk into, a major retailer and you see Mylani on your shelves. That's what we're working on. So that's what we're going to believe the universe for.
That
Yeah.
is fantastic. Are you going to come for the launch or come to DC at any point?
I definitely want to. I've been out there years and years and years ago. It was last time I've been to DC, they still had the scaffolding on the
In the monument?
yes. Yes. So so it's been a minute. As a matter of fact, wow. My daughter started walking in DC.
And she's
So, and
13, the
she
13-year-old?
no girl,
Oh.
she's about to be 25. So yes, I definitely think that we need I need to schedule some time to come out there soon.
Yes,
That would
come
be the goal.
through. Let me know when you come so we can
Yes,
link up.
I definitely will. I
Yeah.
most definitely. I mean, you gotta beat this face, honey. Like,
Got you. I got you. This has been such a great conversation. I've absolutely enjoyed my time with you. But before I let you go, I have to ask you the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions, which I know you will be amazing at. So
okay.
whatever comes to your mind first, just spit it out. If you need to elaborate on it, that's fine as well. But
Okay.
first one, what are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Perseverance, lack of fear, and hard-headedness.
I know that's right. How do you measure your success?
I'm not where I want to be. I feel like there's so much more in store for me. So I definitely feel like I am successful along the lines of accomplishing what I've done so far, that I never quit. But I know that there's still so much more for me. So I'm not ready to use that word success just quite yet, because I feel like sometimes we be thinking success is like end result.
Yeah.
So I'm successful so far with where I got, but there's more.
Success is a
Yeah.
journey.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, what is the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that's just always stuck with you?
The quote that my mom gave me before, which was the only place where, work and success, where work comes before, or success comes before work, is in the dictionary. So she's always just let me know that, if there's something that you want, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
And I think that she did me a huge favor by instilling that in me, because I never wake up any morning feeling like anybody owes me anything.
Mm-hmm.
If I want it, I'm gonna go get it. You know what I mean? If I'm determined to have it, I feel like it's meant to be mine, but I know I got to work for it.
Yeah, yeah. What advice would you give to another hairstylist, salon owner, brand owner, like same as you, who is just not seeing the results that they want in their business and they're just ready to just give up?
Don't give up, but pivot. I think a lot of times we lack the ability to look critically at ourselves. One thing is that any time that I didn't feel like I was where I needed to be, I sat back and looked at what am I doing wrong. And I
Mhm.
think that's where we lack sometimes. We That sense of entitlement will really fool you and it'll trick you out of your position because it'll make you feel like you're owed something and we're not owed something. So if you're not getting where you need to be, evaluate what you could be doing differently. Are you
Mhm.
making it difficult for people to schedule with you? Do people know about you? Could you afford to put yourself out there a whole lot more? Like, is your message clear to your audience? Are you attracting the right type of audience? Maybe you made the mistake of getting in the industry thinking that you were for everybody. So maybe your communication with the right client is getting a little bit blurry because they don't know that you're the person for them.
Yeah.
So just I would say step back, evaluate, see how your audience is viewing you. You may think that you're dope, but maybe they don't know that yet.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
They haven't caught up yet.
yeah, because there's room at the table for all of us. Like there's no, like I say, there's no conspiracy to success. There's no conspiracy to, it's always about like, oh, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Not necessarily. You know what I mean? It's more about not just what you know, but who knows you. You know what I mean? Like, are you putting yourself out there? Do people even know that you exist?
Right.
Are you being quiet? Like if I lurk on people's social media all the time. I should be able to know immediately what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot more of like being all over the place. And, I mean, maybe that could be why you're not getting where you want to be because your messaging is kind of confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What
Yeah.
is a resource that helps you in your business that you can share with the friends and beauty community?
I am big on systems, so I believe I love like my scheduling system because I'm big on numbers, and I think that's the thing that we get so far away from.
Yeah.
We don't know where our numbers are, and I'm big on running my reports. Like what was like a quarter that was good for me, and also that's what helped me like minimize my services because I'm like this is something that people aren't even necessarily booking for. It's not making me the money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm big on Vigaro Pro. That's what I use, not only just as far as like it's easy for my clients to schedule with me because you don't want to make it hard for people to want to spend money with you, right? I feel like that's our problem too. We be like, I'm not DMing you for prices. No, I'm not DMing you for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I feel like a wonderful resource is like having systems in place and making it very easy for people to patronize you.
Yeah.
So I would firmly, if you're in the service industry, I firmly believe in get you a solid booking system in place. That's the least you could do,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, I like that. So the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank and just say, my name is blank. And the
Okay.
key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
Okay. All right. So my name is Charlisa Harris, and the key to longevity and success is determination. You have to stay the course. Like I say all the time, life is going to be lifing. Circumstances are going to happen. There's going to be some days that you're tired. There's going to be some days that you're just, we get burnt out,
Yeah.
but being determined for, what you set out to do is always going to override all of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, I love it. Before you go, please share like your social media information, website, however you want people to connect with you and Mylani, Shadowbox, everything.
Okay. Well, you can find me on my website at Mylani Beauty. I'll spell it. That's MYLANI beauty.com. I'm also on Instagram under Mylani Vegan Hair Care. I also have my own personal page, which is Shadowbox. That's the original name of my salon, and it's spelled, Black folks always got to put their name and stuff. So, so it's spelled with the CH instead of SH. It's CHADOWBOXX. That's my personal page where I have a little bit more fun. It's, where I play a little bit too much is where you're going to see the funny reels, but we keep it business and we keep it cute over in the Mylani Vegan Hair Care page. So I'm out here, you guys. Oh, and on TikTok, I'm starting to get a little bit more traction on TikTok. So definitely check me out at Mylani Beauty on TikTok.
I love it. I was laughing at one of the reels that you did when you said you go in to trim a client's hair. You like flew back. Like they was gonna fight you.
They be getting strong. Listen, I had one where she reached up one time and put like a kung fu grip on my wrist and was like, I'm not ready. I was like, sis, unhand me.
Like, unhand me, ma'am. Please.
Right.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Charlisa. Like, I really enjoyed our conversation. I absolutely love your energy, and I would love to stay connected with you. So we will stay connected for sure.
I love today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And happy half birthday.
Thank you. We got cupcakes coming. Hey.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find the show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. Hashtag Friends in Beauty to join the conversation and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.